Hey everybody, it's Mike from Indi Vita's channel. For the people that don't know me, I'm Mike, Vita's husband. This week we're going to discuss rabbits. Last week we discussed chickens, and this week it'll be rabbits. Let's first of all start with boy rabbits. They're called bucks. This here is a buck, Peter. This here is a girl, which is a doe, which is Polly. We just impregnated her yesterday. And a rabbit, usually gestation is between 30 and 35 days. Normally right around 30, 31 days they'll have their babies. This over here is Daisy. It's kind of hard to see her. She's hidden behind her, but she did have 3 babies. And these babies are close to 5 weeks to 6 weeks old. They were born on June 1st. And we have what we call this cage over here is what we call a grow out cage. And when a baby stops suckling on the mama's breast, or they won't be weaning anymore, which is right around 7 to 8 weeks old, we move them to this grow out cage. And that way it gives mom a time to relax and not have to deal with the babies trying to suckle 24/7. You got these little babies here that we haven't checked out yet on what they are. We probably will here in the next couple days, but we're going to move them on over to the grow out cage. And we have one more, and she's a pure white one. He or she may be a pure white one. They're supposed to be getting pretty used to people touching them, so I've been picking them up. But usually after about 5 weeks, if you're pretty good at checking out whether they're male or female, you can usually sex them within the 5-week period. They're anytime now. My wife Vita, she does real good at sexing them. They'll be going up for sale in another 3 weeks. Usually you can sell them right around 8 weeks old. What they do when it comes pregnant, they become pregnant, you have to build them a nesting box separately so they can have the babies. Right here's the nesting box. All you do, put a little bit of wood chips in the bottom of it, some straw, some hay, and then the mother will go in there and make a hole, and she'll also pick her hair like good old Polly does. She'll pick at her hair and pull it out, and she'll make a nest for that. When she starts doing that, you know it's getting time that she's going to have the baby. And like I said, I put my preferences, since gestation is 30 to 31 days, up to 35 days. Don't panic if they don't have them by 35 days. But normal gestation is 30, 31 days. Right around 28 days, I end up putting that nesting box in there and taking out the regular box. And then the mama can get ready and build her nest to continue to have her babies. We built these cages out of dog crates and dog cages. As you can see, this is a dog cage made out of metal wire. Built, I believe it's 2 feet wide by 3 feet tall, and it gives them plenty of room to roam around. And when they have their babies, the babies have time to roam around free and run around, things like that. We feed these guys with 18% pellets, which is a high nutritional for them. Gives them plenty of protein that they need. The hay is a little different between babies and adults. Adults cannot have alfalfa. Alfalfa doesn't help their kidneys. and it will damage the kidneys if you feed them enough alfalfa. So whenever a rabbit gets up to 8 to 12 months old, I switch them over to regular grass hay, Timothy, brome, that type of hay, and that's plenty of nutrients for an adult. But in the case of a baby, they get alfalfa, and I try to find alfalfa that's pure alfalfa, that's 80 to 90% alfalfa. This alfalfa we have in here for the babies now is 40%. So the next bale that we'll be getting into will be a little bit higher percentage-wise as far as alfalfa-wise goes. It's good for the babies, it helps their growth, it helps with calcium and so forth and so on. As you can see, this baby right here, it's learned how to suck onto the bottle. It's just relaxing. They love their freedom inside of here. We continue though that the floor of the cage, as my wife just pointed out, we use very small, I forget what this wire is called. Vita, do you remember what this wire is called?
Cloth, wire cloth.
Yeah, wire cloth. It's the cloth, exactly. It's real strong. It stops the predators from getting in. I'm sure if they truly want to get in, they probably could break into this cloth, but it's too strong for them to do it. This is what I try to use on my chicken cages, because instead of just chicken wire, because they're just not strong enough. We feed them with the water bottles. Everybody has a water bottle. They all know how to use it. We just use little bowls for the feeding, some that are attached, holders for the hay. Now, rabbits can survive year-round outside, but in Michigan it gets down in the wind chill factor, and if you do happen to get 15 degrees or colder in a wind chill factor, I'll show you what we do inside the shed where we keep the chickens also. Just inside the shed, just in case it gets down to 15 degrees or colder Fahrenheit. As Vita can bring it on in here, I just show you the rabbit cages that we put the rabbits in during the winter time when it's 15 degrees or below Fahrenheit. Here in Michigan, it can get 10 below wind chill. So inside here, we put the rabbits inside their own little cages. We feed them with what they call a J feeder, and we bring the water bottles in and hang them in here. Now, how I built this was I put up some plywood and attached it to the back of the shed. We put the cage on with these little hooks. Vita, if you could show them these hooks. We just hooked it onto there, and then we just use wire to tie it up to the top so it stays nice and level and stays sturdy. We did that with all three. As you can see, there's 3 cages here, 1 for the male, 2 for the females. We don't have any babies when it comes in the wintertime. They're usually gone. But I raise New Zealands. New Zealands are known for their meat. So I normally raise meat rabbits. That's what I normally do about 90-95% of the time. I find them to be very delicious. But I also sell them to try to keep up with the cost of the rabbit food and the hay and the straw and so forth and so on. Right here, we got little trays that we bought from the store that when a rabbit poos or when a rabbit pees, the trays catch it. Now, if anybody else owns rabbits, they know that rabbits fling their urine. So what we did in here, and Vito, you'll have to come up, we put up these plastics that goes around all the way around. So when they fling their urine, it'll go down instead of onto the wall. So that helps in the cages. So, because for some reason this boy likes to fling his urine, Peter, and it stops it. from happening. Then we put a little bit of chicken wire on the cage, as you can see. And that helps with them sticking their heads through the cages and wiring and so forth. Now, the only problem we have is wintertime when the water freezes. So we fill the water bottles up halfway, and we come out here twice a day to change them. I'll put them out here fresh in the morning and come out around noon, change it, then come back out around about 5 o'clock and change it again. Sometimes 9 or 10 at night I'll change it depending on how cold it gets. But you don't want the rabbits to go without at least 12 hours of water. It's not good for them. So I consistently stay on top of that and change the water quite often. I'll also point out the cost of all of this. It costs us about $23 for a bag of rabbit pellets. It costs us roughly about $6 to $10 for a bale of hay. I will go with 3 adult rabbits. I will go through 1 bale of hay a month. And so it takes about 12 bales a year. That's why I built this hay barn over here. As you can see, I showed it in last week's video. It'll hold a whole year's worth of hay. And that's a good thing because I had to keep running back to the hay barns and places that sell hay to be picking up more hay. So I only have to do 1 trip and call it good. But I also wanted to tell you these cages over here. This one in particular didn't have a roof on it. It just had cover on it, like so forth and so on, and it just covered it up, no top. And I used it for a chicken brooding, not brooding, but baby chicks would stay in it, and I kept it in the shed. That way I could run a heater inside of it, and the chicks would go under there. But I quit doing all the baby chick stuff, and I switched over to adult chickens and rabbits. But this used to be a cage for that, but I put some legs on it and turned it into a turnout cage, or excuse me, a grow out cage. And overall, I would say all these cages and inside the shed, those cages right there, probably cost me right around $150, because I bought all these cages and stuff from an auction. And I put it all together myself and put the floors in and all that stuff and built this. As you can see, I put roofs over the top of them, metal roofs. Water runs right off. This was my first cage that I built. This was my second cage. I just used plastic and a tarp. Seems to do the trick. We also use a solar light up at night, so when it kicks on at dark, and you can see what's going on back here, and if anybody comes back, it lights up. So once again, if you have any questions on Indivita's rabbits this week, feel free to ask, comment, but most importantly, make sure you subscribe, because that's what keeps us going here, and that's what keeps our livelihood in place. And we really appreciate each and every one of you that check out our DIY videos on everything that we do, and we'll continue to try to give you a little bit more information about animals as the weeks go on. But I do have one little thing I wanted to show you. Was last week I talked a little bit about grass in a different video, and I couldn't understand what was happening to my lawn. I was fertilizing it, poisoning it, so forth and so on. So Vita, if you could step back and go to a tan spot, I would be happy to show. Let me get my screwdriver first of all, and I'll be right back. Now, if you come to a tan spot in your yard and you're wondering, did I over fertilize? Did I burn it? What did I do with it? And this gives you a little bit of idea what happens. You see this tan spot in your yard? If you grab the grass and you pull on it and there's no resistance, then that means that grass is dead. But if you pull on it and there is some resistance, that means the root is still in there and all it needs is water. You can tell by whether or not the grass is good by the soil. If you take it and you poke your screwdriver into the thing 1 or 2 inches, if it goes in nice and easy, that means that the water has soaked into the soil. If you have to fight with it to push it in, that means that the soil's too dry and it requires water. Now, we've had water for the last 2 days, so I was hoping that it would strengthen up this tan, but this one's not so much resistant, but up in front it is. So once again, like I said, if you want any more information or guidance in this Indivita's video, please feel free to contact us. Leave comments, whether they're good or bad, and don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate everybody. Thanks for watching.